Yeah, I just don't feel like you can go one of those dispelling supports though when you've already got an enchantress. It just feels so awkward and a little bit too passive. Like Enchantress isn't passive at all,
Dieting
right?
ban.
Great in lane. We've seen what she could do in terms of just getting the right creeps to be able to shove out and solo take towers. But I don't know. It feels very single target. It feels very not contributing too much to team fights. It's not good at defending against push if Execration go down that route. And they're going to have the option to go for the Death Prophet here. With not
10
being banned
seconds
out by Neon
remaining.
Esports, I feel like it'd be a really good tool to have.
Do you
5
even
seconds
consider something
remaining.
like a Grimstroke though for Execration? If you can get the Aghanim's, very good versus Medusa, the
Do they
Inks.
need it though?
So you
I don't know if they need it. You've already got Sand King Mirana, is what I'm saying, basically, right?
Dire
So
team pick.
I feel like that should be
Radiant
plenty
team
to be able
pick.
to hold them off. Yeah, give them push. Grim does not provide that, and I understand wanting an insurance policy against the Medusa, of course, with being able to buy the Aghanim Scepter and have all of that return damage coming through. But I'm much more confident in just not letting it get to that stage, right? And
10
if you can do
seconds
that with a
remaining.
support, great, you know, and with one with flex too,
5
which
seconds
can go into
remaining.
the mid roll if it turns out looking good
Radiant
for you.
team
And
pick.
of course, they've got the last overall pick of this stage and next, so they could be feeling pretty confident about all this.
So they will go for
I
defensive
mean,
support.
yeah, it's not great at dealing with push though. Hmm.
It's not, but the
Uh,
the save is very nice versus Sand King Mirana combo. I
10
think
seconds
the
remaining.
Purge is very good versus the Death Prophet as well. Doesn't matter what role you're playing, you want to
5
be charging
seconds
to the
remaining.
middle, and you don't really provide that. And of course, it's kind of nice. Like Dusa is a Manta builder, so just having some extra illusions to be able to shove out lanes with.
I know it's not great against the Medusa, and it's not great against the Shadow Demon, but
Dire
I feel like
team
as long
pick.
as you've got vision on the Shadow Demon and you look to go for the jump with the blink dagger, take him out, it's not a bad tiny game if you want to go aggressive. You know, like something I just want something that takes towers really quickly. You can't rely just purely on the exorcism for that.
10 seconds remaining.
Even the cleave against the phantasm
5
units is going to be
seconds
nice.
remaining.
Just trying to think of what they want to give Palos. Of course, yeah, like you said, he's quite the tiny player. They're a bit single target at the moment on
Radiant
Neon.
team
Could have
ban.
they do tiny? All right, we'll keep
In
them
I'm in their
coming.
head, man.
Yeah.
I'm in it. All right, what do we got next? All right, so they're very single target on Neon, like you said. You know, the Chaos Knight, the
Dire
Shadow Demon, the
team
Enchantress,
ban.
blah, 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 blah. Nothing really that could stop that, right? Maybe the Sand King, if he's really on point, he can get a blink stun when the Phantasm is popped and they try and engage onto someone to be able to
Radiant
save.
team ban.
But you need other ways other than just the Tiny to be able to deal with that. And I mean, you've got enough aggressive tempo, you've got enough stun, you've got damage. Mm, really, all that's
Dire
lacking
team
is honestly
ban.
what they're banning out. You know, keeping people locked within one area. So Puck would have been great for that. A lot of the slows coming out are very, or the stuns coming out are very slow. Same sort of thing with the Storm Spirit. So I
Radiant
wonder if we
team
will just
pick.
see we see a Void Spirit look to come out here for Bob. He doesn't hate it. Another option. Oh, do they? No, I don't think you could Omni Knight. Action
What about Neon? Because
against the
10
Enchantress
seconds
and the
they
Shadow
remaining.
Demon.
they have the 23rd pick. So what are they going for faster? Oh, sorry,
5
for
Well, it needs to be a
seconds
mid,
Avatar.
right?
remaining.
Mid that is capable of stopping push from happening. Kunka
Banned.
is banned.
Dire
Uh,
team pick.
Underlord Flash. I feel like you're going to get run over unless Shadow Demon's like in the perfect spot. I would have liked the Underlord just to be able to delay to reduce the physical damage output.
10 seconds remaining.
Firestorm, of course, for a couple of strength heroes and a DP that
5
likes to build
seconds
into a
remaining.
lot of those stats. So now, how are you going to be able to punish Invoker?
Ogre. Yeah.
Invoker against the mana pool of the Leshrac and the Medusa, Alacrity for the Tiny, stuns to combine together with lots of little instances of damage. You know, obviously you can buy the urn, but Sandstorm, Spirit Siphon does just as much. I would definitely look to pick that one up there. And they have no jump for you as well, so you can free cast in a lot of these engagements.
Or Lena. Bob really likes a Lena, and it's a pretty. It's a pretty good laner game. Like, how are you going to get on top? Just and Ryu's Chaos Knight is going to
You
be.
couldn't sniper, could you? If they have literally no dive, and Medusa hates playing against sniper. If you're able to just sit on the back lines, you're fine going up against the Chaos Knight and the Leshrac, right?
There's definitely consideration for it. I think the only issue with sniper is that your Neon can converge on the tower a lot easier with Enchantress Shadow Demon, and I think Sniper is going to be pretty vulnerable to that, where I think Lena can clear out the lane. Sniper can kind of with Shrapnel, right. But I just feel like you're going to take quite some time to come online. If you lose that tower, then Neon can get pretty aggressive.
Instant clear is good, I agree. And it also provides them with another stun, meaning that Tiny doesn't necessarily have to be there, right? So like a Mirana Sand King initiation, you follow that up with a Laguna Blade. It's a Coddle instead, okay. Just buffing up more of that magic damage. It means that you're going to be able to toss the Soulbind onto Avatar mode. Excuse me, against all of the illusions as well. You're going to be able to use the Solar Bind onto them, so much less impact coming out of the Phantasm. The thing is, like, Keeper of the Light kind of wants to be the one somewhat diving in onto the front lines. So if you play underneath the enemy's vision and Enryu hits a good Chaos Bolt that lasts for a little bit of extra time, you actually have decent follow-up, and Keeper is squishy if you lock him in place, especially with the Reality Rift on top of that. So I can see why they do it. I just feel like there's maybe a little bit of a higher risk coming through with this.
For me, I do still see issues with how they can actually get on Bob, though. Like, it's all reliant on Enryu, Blink, burst him up. Maybe Avatar mode can close the distance as well. It's looking like
this is a mid coddle, right? Mid coddles need to take over the entire map, basically, and I feel like they've got the tools to burst him if he just goes one step too far or is slightly too far away from his teammates. That's my downside. Whereas if they went Alina, for example, you could just sit there and hit towers, right? And you're kind of achieving a similar sort of thing, taking objectives and being able to connect through to your supports to go for kills.
This does give them quite a way to be able to burst heroes down, though, for Execration as well. You've got the Sand King to jump into the Arrow, into the Illuminate. Potential Dagon could also be something they're looking at. So we'll see how they're going to shape up here for Execration and Neon in our game one. Are we favoring one side in particular?
I'll say Execration. I think even though Neon have put through some really solid performances, we can see Neon.Chuan is playing over there on the Enchantress, a real blast from the past. But Execration, I've always been a big fan of this lineup in particular. You know, they always seem to be able to put together at least one good performance every series, and it typically happens in game number one. So that is influencing my decision a little bit.
So we do get ourselves underway, of course. This is Execration's first series in Phase 2 of the Pro Series 11. And apologies. Phase 2. We did have the opportunity to cast them in Phase 1, where they looked really, really dominant.
They looked dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really no competition for them. They 2-0'd 2 series. So they're now in this position where they get to face Neon for their first, and Bro Chuan's not going to be able to get a sentry down to block up the small camp. It's going to be very important to be able to minimize how much the Coddle can get early.
Yeah, I wonder if you might even try and put a little bit more emphasis onto the main jungle as opposed to the creep just next to the wave, just because obviously you're going to get a lot more value out of the medium camps that Coddle's able to pick up. It's able to farm 2 at once, basically, as opposed to just the 1 there.
30 seconds to battle.
Speaking of wards, Shank's blocking up the camp, placing a super deep observer ward. You still can catch both wards if you place the sentry dead center, but in this early stages of the game, you don't really want to be risking observer ward the sentry ward in case it's not on the bottom side of that small camp.
The battle begins.
What do you reckon? Do you think it's going to be Execration as well?
I'm just worried about the Deuce late game. I think Deuce is going to be pretty happy to play into the Tiny. I don't think
is it going to get to late game? Is the question.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up next. I don't know if it will get to late game. I think Execration have far easier times to be able to take towers off the back of Exo. I actually Radiant do as well. But you've got Edict and Enchantress, so never mind about that. But just more importantly, how you can get kills. I think it really comes online with Sand King getting a pretty decent blink timing. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for Execration. I think they've got a big spike earlier than Neon, but if it goes later, I'd start to favor the lads on Radiant.
Oh, absolutely. Even just being able to use... Obviously, you've already got the Shadow Demon for some kind of combo disruptor, I guess you could call it. But with this offlane Chaos Knight, you might be able to go down the route of the Aghanim Scepter just to be able to use that little bit of immunity, I guess you could call it, as long as you're not the one that's getting initiated onto to be able to disrupt as well.
Well, how will Enryu shape up in this lane on the Chaos Knight? Is it a bit of a tricky matchup up into Palace's Tiny and Vincenzo's Death Prophet?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, he still doesn't have any skill points activated just yet. I mean, the thing against the Tiny is he's not going for that Ring of a Killer build or even just the casual Ring of Protection. So you get out of place and you're able to set up for a kill. Reality Rift is going to bring him to -4 armor. And you can actually chunk him down pretty damn quickly if that's the case.
What's the Ring of Aquila build?
Not the Ring of Aquila, Wraithband.
Hang on a second.
Bro, it's the 3rd series, come on. You gotta give me one.
I'll give you one. Give you an opportunity to make a mistake, but there is no more mistakes here on out this series. You have to be on your A game.
Always on my A game. I'm an S tier.
S tier. Ooh, yeah, alright. Well, we'll see if Neon's gonna be on the S tier as well with the stand-in of Chuan, but we've already seen them play one series so far. That was a 1-to-1 tie versus RSG, so yeah, they'd have to be pretty happy with how that series was able to shape up, but Execration's also a difficult opponent. Like we said, they had a very dominant run through phase 1, so there's going to be a lot of wind under their belt.
Wind in their sails.
Sails, not the wind under the belt, you sure?
No, I'm positive. Listen, Zuma, don't you try and tell me what some words are. They're going to reveal the fact that this is warded down the bottom side with Shanks being able to snipe that courier. See, yeah, look at this. They're just microing the little crab, bringing things out there. Shanks was really on point. He could have probably used the double leap there to be able to deny away the full... No, he doesn't have the full power treads yet, but still the Gloves of Haste, the Band of Elven Skin, pretty effective to have. And well, if you look at that, it's the Harpy Stormcrafter that Shanks is going to have to deal with unless he gets it sniped away.
Chuan still...
He'll be fine.
Proving to be a bit of an issue for Shanks. See that health ball starting to dwindle, but yeah, he's got a Salve, so he's going to take the one out of the belt. So the wind under the belt here for Execration.
Don't you start. Don't you
Nothing too crazy is...
That's your one mistake. You're not allowed to make another one.
Top lane, Vincenzo. Take a bit of damage. Does have only 1 point in the Shadow Poison. It's starting to stack up. Vincenzo can always play around with the Fairy Fire. Cuts through the trees. They get one more stack. I don't think it'll be enough anyway.
If he was level 3, then maybe, but without that, certainly not going to be the case. What do you reckon as well about... I don't think we're going to see it this game, but a lot of carries these days are just buying a Ring of Basilius for themselves to be able to jungle a lot. Have you seen that?
Any carries in particular?
Yep, did it last game. Just anyone that wants to be jungling and needs the mana pool to be able to do so. Like, I think we've seen Terrorblades do it.
Yeah, Terrorblades like to do it, yeah. I can't remember, honestly, the Tiny's build last game. Vincenzo might get a solo kill on Jing, but Enryu's able to step in, offer up some assistance. He does have 2 points though on the Spirit Siphon. Vincenzo, ridiculously survivable, so there is unfortunately not much Enryu can really do to get the kill, but at least you do prevent Execration from finding first blood.
Actually able to put down that sentry ward inside of the small camp there for the Keeper of the Light. So nicely done by Chuan on his little rotation journey. Looking to put a little bit of bullying in onto Tino, hoping that he uses the Sandstorm.
Oh.
But of course, the camp's blocked up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Bob actually making the early rotation. Staying under the cover of nighttime.
Yo!
Bounce back.
Oh, nicely played, Bob. finds our first blood. He's getting really close to the boots of travel. Did we see Bob play the coddle? It's actually Tino bottom. It's a very deep dive from Chuan, but he's going to be killed off of this, I believe. Silver's a possibility. He's going to pop on the high ground. So Chuan actually makes it out. Okay.
CMI, I guess the Observer Ward just providing that little bit of a clip there. Nicely done. Even just trying to deny as much as what this Enchantress is able to do. I mean, the Enchantress, it was always something to be feared back in the day, and that's what people called it, man. I know you don't think Dota existed before, what, 2016? But turns out it did.
So Glyph from Avatar mode is going to keep some pressure onto the T1 tower, and this can more importantly just open up him from making a play into the jungle, which well, it gets an Observer Ward taken care of thanks to this. So this can now make it a little bit more difficult for Palace just to freely farm once he wants to go back and try and take some of the stacks.
What build we're going for here on the Enchantress as well. Looks like he's got a couple of items to go into something like an Orb of Corrosion, or it might just be the value items there, because you don't really see an Enchantress go on the full Orb. I think last game on the Ench, we didn't actually see boots picked up for the entire game until the Boots of Bearing.
It's kind of interesting that they're bringing two supports mid. I don't know how they're going to kill Bob, especially with this movement speed and especially with his way just to shove out the lane, so it's not like they can put too much pressure onto the tower. But maybe they don't have anything else to do, like Asta's free farming bottom. Sand King's not really going to prevent the Medusa from getting any farm.
I guess. I mean, he's got the 4 points in the Diabolic Edict though, right? So you can do whatever you want to the creeps. As long as you've got that Edict to start hitting the towers, there's not too much that you're going to be scared of. I mean, Bob, I wonder how much they've kept track of this Spirit Form timer. Yeah, they will be able to take it.
Okay. Well,
has fallen.
It's surprised, but yeah, like you said, without the
Spirit...
Spirit...
mistake.
Okay, well, without the Spirit Form, he couldn't really stand his ground. That was a nice point you mentioned, that they would kind of keeping track of that. Just otherwise it would have been very difficult for them to be able to catch up to him. Just run it around like already has 483 movement speed. Good old Keeper of the Light.
I really want to see him immediately make a rotation now. He's been able to pick up the urn. He's got the Spirit Form popped. You got to get kills. You got to start getting value out of this and use the Spirit Vessel to have such an effective timing against the Medusa.
Both sides have been putting a lot of emphasis on stacks. This is second stack that Avatar mode has been able to farm. So he's surprisingly up there in net worth with the coddle. What's last hits looking? Yeah, very even. Only 5 last hits. Sparrowson, Avatar mode, of course, did get that tier 1 tower, so that's going to bump up his net worth a lot, and they're already thinking about putting some pressure on top.
Is, but I mean, you're making this rotation up top when you've still got 15 seconds on that Spirit Form, so it feels very reactionary as opposed to proactive, which I feel is the way you need to be playing on the Keeper of the Light. I say that, but it's, you want to be playing that way when you've got vision, and right now, Execration's map vision is pretty much nothing. You know, they've got a good layer of dominance across all 3 lanes from Neon at this stage.
Yeah, well, Tino taking this stack, he's got a 9-minute Blink Dagger on the Sand King, so this is probably going to catch Radiant off guard if they try and take the tier 1 top. Tino can definitely come in the neighborhood to defend, and especially being level 8 already, it's going to be a lot of magic damage.
Do they don't have any points in the Solar Bind just yet, though. I wonder if Coddle might, with this impending team fight, be ready to look to use that one. Get level 9 from the creep wave. And there we go. 1 point in Solar Bind, just prepping for the Sand King. But he actually makes the rotation bottom. I guess Coddle can TP at any time as well.
They're going to jump. Onto the Shadow Demon. Yeah, nothing crazy. I guess giving a little bit of injection of gold into Palace, but Avatar mode, along with Chuan's going to be in the neighborhood, but they are a bit hesitant to take the fight, although Tino's going to be venturing out alone. Going to enter the high ground where Avatar mode just instantly sets up for the stun. Tino gets a bit of distance away, blink in a second, and Tino's out.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You're not going to have that strength of the blink reveal anymore, though. That's the only thing I'm a little bit more concerned about, is they might go for a smoke here with the three of them. Spirit form up in 10 seconds. Will they be able to get everything in?
Arrow, Creep's gonna eat the arrow, and so Avatar mode still with the epicenter. Magic damage not enough. He's got Hood, Raindrop, exceptionally tanky with the Leshrac.
That's the difference, though, that I'm talking about, right? Like, you wait 5 more seconds, you're going to have the Spirit form, you're going to bump him back into the arrow, you're going to kill off the creep so much faster. It's just a little bit unfortunate as well. They're going to use it to get a kill onto Chuan at least, but it just still doesn't feel like you're having the level of impact that you would want out of this Blink Dagger just yet. A couple of supports isn't the way that you want to be playing it. I'd try and get a tower up top. Avatar mode's ready.
Oh, they're more than happy to take the fight as instantly burrowed out after the exorcism in Avatar mode. That's a big kill to find. Going for this Hood first item, you're trying to take up and take these fights, get kills, get objectives, and then snowball that lead from there. But if you give away a couple of early deaths, it can kind of prevent how much farm you get. You might be able to get a rebuttal kill. Shanks doesn't leap into the Roche pit, but... And now he doesn't have any more leap charges, in fact. So, yeah, Shank's going to be killed off. Just chucks an arrow to try and farm one of the camps. Unfortunately, no one is home.
There's the value out of the Sand King, though. Like, all of this magic damage super early on. It's unfortunately just not too much that you can do to handle it. Palace, he's gone for the Moon Shard as well. First item. I like it. You know, he had to go this game, the Soul Ring, because he doesn't have an IO like we saw in the previous series to be able to back him up. So... need some kind of way to be able to sustain your mana for a lot of these early team fights, and could be a useful tool for him to have. Still should hit that Moon Shard plus Aghanim Shard timing at the 15-minute mark. Oh, and they found the Deucer. Look at this. Haste rune. Arrow.
Oh, no. Oh, my. That was some crazy body blocks from Tino if that was on the mark, but the Observe Ward... I think it expired on the high ground. Doesn't look like died dewatered. He had the last remaining duration of that was important to be able to scout out Tino's rotation. I wanted to defend top.
Able to take the tower. Yeah, who's going to be able to defend though? Mirana isn't. She needs to walk all the way back up towards the top side. So
5 seconds for Teeper on Coddle. Tino's actually just going to jump in.
Where are you going?
Maybe just trying to defend the tower before everyone else shows up. Okay.
It's a ballsy move. Ends up getting away with it though. What's he got coming out to him? Just a Soul Ring, wanting to keep himself out there on the map. Now with Bob here, he's just going to play in the trees as much as possible. Gives the time for the Mirana to make that rotation through as well. Palace, you got to make sure you're making something out of this rotation, right? Because if you don't, see where the pings are coming. Just saying, look, we can't leave Palace down here on the bottom side for too long. Otherwise, we're going to lose a tier 2 by the time we take a tier 1, even with a Leshrac. And they find Tino. They've still got this Observer Ward here, seeing exactly where he is, but scout him out. Nicely done by Vincenzo. Support putting himself on the line. So much emphasis onto this tower. Look at like the Observer Wards aren't revealing anything other than can we take this tower? And even with 4 heroes committed here, they still can't do it.
Avatar mode not again. Tino's already used the blink. A bit unfortunate there. They get a ward down at least. Vincenzo's got 1. I think they just saw that. No, yeah, maybe they saw the Death Prophet. Look at this, they're just blocking up camp, so
annoying.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, gonna try and pressure the top side again. Wanting Avatar mode or anyone else to get the sneaky take.
So
it's a lot of time wasted, but it's also time where I suppose Tino doesn't really need any more farm, right? His job is just having this Blink Dagger to be able to make a lot of these early engagements as they go for a smoke. That might have been under vision actually from Tino just standing there in the lane. Sorry, from Enryu. So we'll see how they look to play it. Looks like they're all grouped up together. Just looking to keep those lanes shoved in as much as possible, even if it's not a tower lane.
Yeah, they know that Radiant is smoked as well. Avatar mode cleared the mid wave under the cover of the smoke. So the lines are drawn. Have some read of the positioning by their own triangle, but Radiant, they do have a really good ward on the cliff. Chandra just sends the courier. Go. Poor old courier's going to Oh, no.
Alice is dead on with his 15-minute Ag Shard timing as well. So this is a very, very scary hero to
Dire's
have to
top
come
tower
into.
is under
And
attack.
Ryu gonna try and use his Phantasm to push this lane in. It's like Palace trying to reveal this one here. Even just
Radiant's
denying it up.
middle tower is under attack.
Oh,
Any
the
way to save him now, though. Oh, actually,
Dire's bottom tower
yeah,
is
Vincenzo
under attack.
gonna make the aggressive play.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Usa
attack.
might be in a position to defend though. Manta just completed. It's not
Yeah,
like a
positioning though.
crazy item to help.
Dire's
Tino's in a
bottom
great
tower
spot.
is under attack.
And they gotta force multiple lanes, right? Do you deal with mid? Do you deal with top? Because both are getting hit. Top with a siege creep as well.
They know exactly where Tino is. It's a nice read from Neon, playing on the right side of this lane, making sure they're not close enough for the Sand King to pounce. So
Dire's bottom tower
T1
But they
towers.
still lose the tower. So, works out well for Execration. Yeah.
More Astor, top of the net worth, level 15. Bottom tower is going to be claimed. Dragonlance Manta, so his farm's really going to start to skyrocket, just sending Manta illusions down to creeps, to jungle creeps, to lanes. So this is a lot of gold that they have to be concerned about. They haven't dealt with Asta so far. 208 last hits. It's been flawless. But when do we see the Deucer start to get active? Do you really feel like that next item is when maybe he's going to feel comfortable with showing up to fights?
I'd say she probably needs a
Dire's
BKB
bottom
this game.
tower is under
You know,
attack.
you're going up against a Keeper of the Light who's got enough gold now, or very shortly, I believe,
Radiant's
for
top
the
tower is
Dagon.
under attack.
And you're going to need that to be able to get that burst damage through. If you've got a BKB, suddenly you're not worried about that. You're not worried about the Sand King, all the damage coming through from there. You're not worried about the Spirit Siphon either. Or even just the Vessel, right? Pretty impactful.
Stalemate.
Really on point. Yeah.
5 kills at 17 minutes, and honestly, I'm quite surprised we're 17 minutes in. I thought we were
Radiant's
still
top
much
tower
earlier
is
than what
under
we are,
attack.
but this game's gonna break out surely. Like, people are starting to find their items, especially the cores. You see the position 1s, they're getting ridiculous
Radiant's
amount of
middle
farm. The
tower is
2's
under
very
attack.
similar, the 3's very similar. So
Shadows.
we are in store for a very action-packed mid game.
Like, have to be careful with where exactly you're looking to send that that courier on Vincenzo. It reveals exactly where he is
Dire's
underneath the
bottom
cover
tower
of
is under
the
attack.
Moonlight Shadow. So, kind of ult wasted, you could say.
They know this
Topside-
cliff is warded. Tina's gonna jump, but it's just the Enchantress. Great position from Jing. Offering up some protection, but still with the damage. It's a lot with all the magic. Tina's gonna be killed off nonetheless, and Ryu drags him to the cliff line. So a 1-for-1. And you were aware of that ward there from Execration. We saw prior Vincenzo trying to deed ward, giving his Cory the vision. So kind of surprised they tried to take the fight in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly surprising that there isn't a lot more
Radiant
all-out
are
aggression, or even just
scanning.
more emphasis onto the lanes, right? You know they're probably playing around that area that's warded. You've got a Tiny that's farming on the other side of the map. So just make space for him, or just look to force them to defend, right? Either you're going to lose a tower or you're going to lose heroes because you're splitting up the map so much. Eventually they get the D-ward on Execration.
Fortunately for Neon though, they just placed 2 sentries by their triangle and have not been able to find the ward. Now Chuan will do so after the 3rd.
It's nighttime, he didn't see it.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't place another I mean, you've pretty much covered all your tracks here in this line that you have of 3 sentries, so you won't need to find any, but you'd hate to smoke an Epic Ward under the vision.
Astor will hit his Skadi timing about the same time as Palace gets to the BKB though, so that's going to be the real head-on collision between these two teams when they're going to be fight ready. Would have to say the Deuce is the one that's going to come out on top of that though. Just much tankier. She'll be level 18. She will have that slow, of course, that goes through the spell immunity.
Do you feel like either side is happy with the status quo of this game? Like, I know Execration have a 2,000 net worth lead, but did it need to be more? Do they need to shut someone down, or do you think everyone's pretty happy with what's going on right now?
Gaben disagrees, but I would say I'm happier if I'm Neon, right? This Medusa just being able to be that high ground surge, Coddle only having 2 kill involvements in 20 minutes. It's just not, at least in my opinion, the way that you play the Coddle. You know, I think at this stage you should probably be looking to have 8 minimum. Smoke up. They're going to use Bob as a little bit of bait here. He's such a tempting target to have to go for. So Tino putting himself on the front lines, trying to catch someone out. Who's it going to be?
Alice with the DD, they're going to jump. But Jing, once again, perfect positioning, offering some protection through the banishment. So Asta is going to be out to safety, but Tino still jumps into the middle. A double burrow strike, but they've still got to be considerate. Avatar mode is completely out of mana. Maybe they're going to be worried about battle loss. Oh my lord, the Tiny just chunking them down. A 2 for 2 in the end. A buyback forced out from Chuan. And Ryu trying to trail the fight, seeing if he can jump in the later stages, but won't have a window.
He came in on the side and sniped Tino towards the end of it, as he was running away from all of that AoE damage coming from the Medusa, the Mystic Snake, the Stone Gaze, plus the Lash Rack damage. All he really needed was, with the assistant of that Sentry Ward, the Chaos Bolt, because he's got the Aghanim Shard for himself.
Given half a chance.
What do you reckon about the name of Chuan's Sentry Wards? One in the mid lane.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a pretty good name. Yeah, it's a cool ward as well. They need some new Observer Sentry cosmetics. Come on, lads. We got plenty of items for everyone else. Just give me some.
Is that Mike Wazowski or something like that from Monsters?
Yeah, kinda. I imagine that could be what they were thinking of going with. Creative inspiration.
The Disney crossover.
Yeah. But I'm laying Palos.
Always have to be careful with Palos. He's kind of isolated a little bit here. They're not going to have the disruption now to be able to protect anyone that gets gone
no.
on. Man to dodge.
Palos in trouble. Tino's in trouble as well. Palos is going to be TP out. Almost is killed off. And now Tino. That is awkward now for Execration. Still, they've got the net worth lead, and they're not going to lose really anything out of it, but it just felt like a unforced mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to be putting pressure onto the tower, of course, as a Tiny. It's one of your big strengths, but they were fighting underneath the Give Chuan Win ward, the Mike Wazowski ward, and just diving in on Tino, forcing out the disruption a little bit early on the Shadow Demon, which led me to believe that they might have felt a bit confident, but where was the follow-up? You know, you didn't have the Coddle, you didn't have the Death Prophet to even have that turnaround potential there. So, to me, it really feels like you've got so many more tools for the instant pick-off with the Blink Dagger on the Sand King, plus now onto Palos. That
poor Shanks.
I think caught out here. He's got one leap left. Oh, not long enough.
I mean, well, they were also able to kill... Oh, he got... Okay, the neutral creep killed him, and they also killed Chuan, which was the dieback, but Neon still feel strong enough to be able to walk inside the pit.
Don't know about this one. I mean, again, the blink stuns are pretty impactful.
Tino's gonna jump. A burrow onto 2, and now with the epicenter burst potential, Tino didn't get the charge up just yet. The goddamn Stone Gaze proving to be an issue. Tino. Oh no, we just can't combat this, but Acid does really have the mana. Again, the banishment's gonna buy him a little bit of breathing room, but once he pops out, Palos can easily dispatch of Medusa's life. Now they're turning towards Avatar mode, but without Tino to be able to jump and close the distance, the Leshrac will just narrowly evade.
Really feels to be like both of the mistakes that have been coming through from either team has just been... Yeah, the arrow misses. The lack of respect for the tools that the enemy team has, right? Like, how are you going to fight into the Roche pit on half HP on a Chaos Knight when you've got 2 Blink Daggers available on Execration's side and no vision to know when they're going to be coming? It just feels a little odd to me.
Well, you have the Aegis advantage now onto Palos. Level 20 on the Tiny, so he's got some status resistance to be playing with and a bit of a window of opportunity there for Execration. So we'll see what they can really get out of the Aegis. Is there an ideal amount that you think is possible for them with this Aegis into the Neon's lineup?
most of the time when you see the first Aegis, you're just like, all right, consolidate our lead, take away the triangle, take away that area, that safer area of the map that they're trying to farm in. But with a tiny, all tier 2 towers need to be gone. Like, you just got so much pushing potential with it. Plus the fact that he's level 20 now. Finally, they do get rid of the vision. So, yeah, not too many areas that they can look to play around anymore. You can see Enryu hugging Mike Wazowski on the high ground, but not going to be able to do too much for them. I honestly don't even think it's worth using the glyph. They'll do it, but honestly, that doesn't even clear this next creep wave, which has the siege creep. Like, that opens opportunity for you to claim ones that are much more likely to be bursted down.
Do you go hit high ground? Just force them back?
I still think you just get tier 2s. Yeah, like, maybe try and... Do they have BKBs? I actually don't have any BKBs on Neon's side.
They're going to have to come back. This is what we saw... Was it game 1 of our last series where they just get a tier 3 and... Like, now you're out.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Just for free.
They have a nice ward inside the base. They actually might stick around to use it. They see Enryu. Palace actually going to jump behind. Tina's fall up again. Jing proving to be an issue with the banishment. Alatomo's just narrowly being able to escape. They're still continuing to hunt. Behind the barracks they go. A 2-for-1, but Palace got to give up the Aegis advantage. He's got BKB on the respawn. They don't have Stonegaze to set up as well. Palace just going to BKB. Look to TP out. There will not be an answer. So... What do you get? Was there a buyback forced out? I think a 2-for-2 in the end.
I don't even. I mean, that's the twice now, though, that Tino's unfortunately died by being chain stunned before he's able to use that BKB. I think he just needs to be a little bit quicker on the trigger finger to be able to get that one off. He survives. You've got the cover of Sandstorm. It feels so much more awkward to fight into it. Probably get the epicenter too. Very, very different outcome if you're able to just achieve one extra little thing. You probably take the lane of Rax easily if that's the case.
And now you're continuing to stall this game out. Like, I know you got a T3 tower. I understand the net worth that's continuing to grow for Execration. But I think we were both under the agreement that this Dusa late game is... Can he 5v1? 1v5, I should say?
I don't think he can 5v1. Nah, I think you still got a lot of magic damage to deal with, right? So that is always going to be a factor. We see the Titan Sliver drop for Neon. Do you reckon they're going to get one on Execration because they've got a tiny?
Well, what do you know? Do we even have to ask that question? I mean, I feel like it's going to come out. They're moving bottom. Okay, Palace just going to pin off the Enchantress. Should reveal a ward nearby. And yeah, he pings out. Most likely
see, this is why
location.
Chuan retired, because of bullshit like that.
Yeah, what? Because the tiny just 2 hitting him? Yeah, understandable.
Yep.
What level Dagon is that? 3.
It's a 4?
The corridor.
Maybe it's 3.
Actually, no, you might be right. I think he... Unless it's coming out of the corridor now? Yeah, no, he's up to 3. He still needs the 2 others. Yep. Look at Ting.
Damn it, that's my second mistake.
Hate to see it. No, I think I baited you, to be honest. They need to deal with Jing. Jing has done way too much in these past couple of fights. Well, honestly, through the entirety of the game. His banishment saves has been on point. Positioning's been on point. He's got the shard now, which is going to be huge defensively. So you...
But he did buy back. So you kill
true.
him, you've got an enormous window to be able to push forward. All of your stun combinations are just going to be uninterrupted, basically. You don't have the BKB yet on the Leshrac. You don't have a BKB on the Chaos Knight. You don't have a BKB on the Medusa. Like, they are just going to be completely... I don't want to say food, because they are still pretty tanky. These heroes, Dusa, CK, and Lesh, but very vulnerable.
Well, Execration.
And smoke. Can you find the Shadow Demon?
It's a top
If I'm Jing, I'm just staying way back inside the base.
They're going to see Enryu trailing behind the T2 tower. They're going to see the rest of the team as well. I mean, that Observer Ward's going to give them so much information.
Pinging him. Like, there's the
He's
Shadow
split from the
Demon, although
team. They know that many heroes aren't behind Tino at the moment. Arrow's going to be the mark. The mana.
There's
Oh
Stargaze.
no, they're in trouble. As Ast is killed off with ease. Neon a little bit too late to protect their position 1. Now they're going to toss Tino into the middle like that. Oh, Palos. That was filthy stuff. The synergy between the two is perfect.
Thought you were about to call him a lucky man with that one, but he is still able to get the key component into the team fight, the follow-up. And that's all on the back of them knowing exactly where the Shadow Demon was. This ward by Vincenzo essentially might have won them the game. No buyback on the Medusa for the next
Let's
minute.
see Avatar mode. The catapult. Tino's going to try and kill it off, but it doesn't matter. No BKB. And now they can even probably get Enryu afterwards. Tino just a bit shy of the Burrow Strike, so Enryu will trade a 1-for-1, but guess what?
The demolition.
Yep. Oh no.
You know, I was memeing, but he has the freaking Titan Sliver, man.
Of course. I told you, man. Do you even have to ask that? Is Pelos? What? What is that? This tiny, he's such a crazy hero. 8-0 and 5, full set of barracks. They've got a tier 2 now to claim and still have a bit of a window where they might get at least melee. I don't know if they can get full set.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
I don't know, like, it's still daytime. What, do they have any deep vision or anything like that? No, they don't. But you have to be really careful with this Shadow Demon. If you move forward at all, they're just going to try and pick you off.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
Ghost Scepter available on the DP, so very tanky. Gotta be
Ooh.
careful about going too far forward. Yeah, I was about to say, Tina was there, ready and waiting. Also got an Aghanim Scepter on the Mirana, so another nice way to be able to clear out a lot of those CK illusions. Keep the waves shoved in.
Yeah, Tino's even going for his own Ags. He had that queued up second item after the blink, but it was at a stage in the game where he felt like he needed the BKB, so kind of swapped the build, but it's going to go back into the Aghanim Scepter a little bit later on.
Where do you look to play around? I mean, I just saw a gem board. Did you see who it was on?
Vincenzo.
Okay. I really do feel like it's the stage where Neon need to buy one, right? If any of their supports can afford it, just because you've got all of this great vision around. Yeah, the one that you're circling right there, Jing, is walking right over the top of it, and he is none the wiser.
This ward's just... That's a really cool ward. And you... Alright. Smoke out. Asta leading the charge. He's about to run into the Observer Sentry. I see him. Down to the south. Tino's going to jump straight onto Jing. The defensive banishment's actually going to buy him a little bit of breathing room. Let's see how much damage Asta can do in the middle of the fight. Turns Tino to stone. He's got the first kill. Bob's in trouble as well with the Scardy slow. Bob's going to get some distance thanks to the toss, but they're still closing the distance. And Ryu in Avatar mode. They've got the right clicks. And that is enough as Execration. Palos actually wants to go back in.
Once more.
He's still got his own BKB. Avatar mode, they're going to trade it. Asta's now overstepped the boundary. Palos instantly pouncing, but the Scardy slow is proving to be an issue. Palos trying to close the distance. I know the mana is completely drained, so Asta can't stand his ground. Trailing to the tree line. Do they actually think about turning it around? Asta. Nice sidestep. Jukes the arrow.
Matrix moves coming out there from Asta. Somehow able to come back into that one. Unfortunately, Tino, when he was trying to make the TP away, it was straight into the Stone Gaze from the Medusa. So, of course, you face towards the fountain when you try and TP to there, and that was enough to take him out.
Bit of a swing, though. About 2,800 for Neon. You need to get yourself set up for this next Roshan, which will be respawning in the next 30 seconds.
You saw how vulnerable the Coddle is, though, right? When you're able to get in on top of him. Yeah, he might be super fast. Yeah, he might be able to dish out a crap ton of damage, but get that simple stun onto him, or even just the Scardy debuff, he gets slowed by a good amount. You can really start to chunk him.
Radiant are scanning.
Still haven't dealt with this ward. And again... No. This ward's just... Chuan's going to be kicking themselves. Like, when they watch... I have to imagine they will, but if they do watch this game back, and they see that ward, that's... it's giving them way too much information.
Instant T1 as well coming through there from Vincenzo. He's got the gem. He's got his courier there to give vision. Oh, Tino.
They
Careful
ping?
up here.
Masters? You'd love to have 25 on the Deucer. Palos has already hit his 25, so he's going to jump. It's a bit of a window knowing Deuce is in the lane. But there will be no follow-up as Tino is a bit split from Palos' attempt.
It's actually pretty disgusting. So level 25 on Palos. He's went for the Avalanche cooldown. If you have a look at it, 6-second cooldown, Chakra Magic, 6-second cooldown reduction.
That still felt good.
Alright, smoke up. Rosh. It's going to be falling pretty fast with Palos sieging. The full wraparound. Asta's going to get in the middle. Rosh at half health. The support's going to look to evade to the north. Tino charging up the epicenter. They're not grouped up at the moment. He's trying to find a window. Tino's going to jump now into the middle. It's not crazy damage. Palos got the follow-up of the instant BKB Stone Gaze. Asta, they're going to try and turn to Roche. Easy Aegis for Asta. Now they got the second life, and Palos needs to retreat, or maybe he wants to stand his ground. Killing off the Shadow Demon protected for the BKB. He's got the Satanic as well, so Palos, oh, he doesn't care about the damage, just shrugs it off with ease. And now with the respawn, they'll turn to Avatar mode. They know they have a window to aim the Leshrac. Asta's going to try and TP out as Tino just too late to cancel that one. But Execration do such an awesome job to read when they need to kite the Deucer and when they can stand their ground to kill her off.
And they were just able to get the Aghanim shard at least on the ground, but such a heavy commitment. You know, use all of your spells and you've still got this sustained damage coming through from Execration, through the Death Prophet, through the Tiny. Even just the Aghanim Scepter on the Mirana, right? Doing so much.
Links onto Asta. It's another incredible stun from Tino onto 2, and hang on. Deuce is gone. She's got a buyback. Palos is in trouble. Satanic's already used BKB as well. I don't think Tiny gets out of this. But the rest of Execration, do you stick around? They're in shambles. Look at the health pool slowly crumbling as Neon. They'll hold the high gun, chasing down heroes after hero. No way Tino gets out. He's got his blink down to the south. He'll make it.
Oh man.
My.
That was a little bit on Chuan. I know he's an old man, but he had the Cloak of Flames available. If he just stayed around that general area, he of course has the gem as well that would have been able to catch him out, but even just disabling the blink would have been such a big difference. Speaking of Chuan, they're looking to potentially go in onto him. Shanks, found his procs. He's going to get away.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Another
Dire's structures are fortified.
decent fight for Neon. Of course, we did see them heavy commitment with the buybacks, but they might just go for this
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
last hurrah ditched attempt, as Asta has a double damage rune for about a third duration left.
Trying to use that Aghanim Scepter to be able to create the space, but yeah, so many buybacks expended previously. Does anyone even have it?
Tiny,
no?
DP, and Shadow Demon. Only 3
Oh, I'm
throughout
talking
the
about
game.
Neon. Yeah,
Okay.
the Shadow Demon is the only one even close to it for Neon.
Wait, Tino? Okay, BKB's gonna do nothing, especially against a physical in the purge, so Tino, what? Is gonna buy back.
I guess trying to stall out for the Tiny's respawn. Got this this wave of creeps coming. I mean, it makes them back off.
Okay.
Epicenter for the creeps.
Like you said, though, it makes them back off, so we'll see what Neon can get out of it. You're going to have to start cutting the waves. They ain't got nothing like boots or travel to push out top, but Asta's going to send the man to Illusions mid. He's going to cut bottom. I hope he cuts the next wave bottom. Maybe that's going to be on someone else. So, in the end, you got tier 4 neutral items starting to be picked up. Asta... So the leveler in the backpack. Might not hold it, but at least you backpack it just in case you need to go for this base race or anything like that. Were you watching Asta just then?
Wow, what happened?
Yeah, you know how like there's some tier 1 neutral items in particular that you'll pick it up, want a quick use out of it, like shovel or arcane ring, then you send it back to base.
Did you do it with Stormcraft?
Yeah, he did it with Stormcraft. So yeah, Asta's like, it was a test run. He was just making sure it worked, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Of course, Tiny's got leveler himself. Or even Penta Edge. Yeah, what do you know? Yeah. probably arguably the best 3 he's gotten for Tiny. Sliver, Penta, Leveler. Cool. Like, what is that? Oh, the luck. I mean, I guess it is kind of favoring Radiant as well. Leveler is always going to be nice for Asta. I think there's really another crazy one for a ranged right clicker. Is there really for tier 4?
Ranged right clicker tier 4. Let's have a look.
I can't only Leveler.
Yeah, leveler.
45 damage a lot from Penta Edge, but sometimes you're just like, yeah, we'll just go tier 3s. Paladin, Sliver, whatever be the case.
You might even want the Trickster's Cloak.
Yeah.
Still be able to avoid a lot of that damage coming out. Tiny doesn't love going into the Monkey King bar, so evasion would help.
Alright, smoke up Execration down to bot. The lane is getting shoved out, so they're anticipating someone to come back to defend this. This is a cool move. Execration.
Baiting Bob.
I trust everyone was out of
Baiting
sight.
Bob, baiting the lane. Someone has to come back, and it's going to be Asta and probably the rest of the team.
Let's see Asta.
Oh, I think they
Do they have the
saw...
gem?
I think Asta saw the Epi.
Epi Pulse.
Yeah. Whoa! Tino, what is that? Oh, that's a bar almost to end the game. They need a retreat. Tino's going to try and get the ulti off under the cover of the BKB. They'll drag him back still. As Asta still showing that he's got some damage they need to respect.
The zoning Epi, though, after what was that, a triple burrow strike?
Oh, my.
Imagine how different that would have been, though, if they had the gem still on someone. They would have spotted out Asta. It was daytime. They were all up there on the high ground, and he didn't have buyback. And, well, it's Rapier time.
Oh.
He's got it queued up. Steal the Demon Edge component away.
Rapier. Oh, I still need some gold. We're not there just yet. Roshan's still... Yeah, quite some time away, Asta. You guys don't have the timer, it looks like. You're in a bit of...
Bounty.
Too early.
Nerves, panic setting in. They do, as a result of that previous team fight, have the gem available, so they didn't need to buy it.
Dire
And
are
we're holding on
scanning.
to it right now, making sure that you are a little bit more secured with where Deuce is looking to continuously farm and pick up that rapier for herself.
I'm not in the mood for a chase.
Where Avatar Mode's positioning himself. He doesn't even want to walk slightly out, still into the interior of his base to be able to push out this wave with all of Execration still missing on the map.
How... I mean, at the moment, it's a 21% chance, so there's still definitely a window here for Neon. I feel like it's going to get much larger if Asta can get towards this Rapier. Because we've seen they've kind of struggled to deal with the Medusa these past couple of fights. It's pretty difficult to avoid her with how much damage Asta is doing, but then targeting a Medusa when you don't deal with some of the secondary heroes like the Shadow Demon in particular, it's going to make your job that much more tricky. And Jing's working towards the Scepter, so if he can get this item, this is really, really big for the lads on Neon.
He's already got the cleanse, so that'll be really nice of just being able to put that onto, most notably, the Medusa, of course, for the healing component, but also to be able to avoid the silence, to be able to avoid the blind coming through from the Keeper of the Light.
Dire's top tower is under
Very nice
attack.
tool to have. I really want to see something like a Blink. Not a Blink, sorry. A Scythe of Ice come out from Neon. I think they don't quite have that way to instantly jump and really allow the Deucer to take a fight on their terms. It always seems to be reactionary. And, of course, it's a Deucer fighting in her own base. You're going to have that, but imagine if they could finally take one team fight on their terms.
Might be solo killed. What?
The cleanse.
Yeah, okay. That was
E-Blade, not as much of a factor.
quick
Now
reaction
he's
from
got the
Jing.
Acceptor.
I wonder if he would have been bursted. 1200 health was not a lot from Chuan. I'm like, hang on a second. Does he have magic resistance? Which...
Just from the talent. He's got a Cloak of Flames backpacked as well.
Alright, well, we saw the smoke from Radiant prior. They didn't get nothing out of it. Dire gonna smoke themselves and look to get nothing out of it. But we do have Rapier now on Asta, so...
Sold his boots. So he's a little slow, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that he's timing that Stone Gaze to perfection.
Oh, he's gonna
Bob,
reel it on
Bob,
Bob. Oh no, Tino needs to counter initiate. He's got to put his body on the line. They're gonna jump in. Chain control's there, all on Jing to be able to offer the assistance, and he does just that. This is going to be fine in the middle. Vincenzo wants to jump bomb. I mean, Vincenzo's just getting shredded apart. You can't, as a support, just move in to try and deal with the Rapier on the Medusa. You've got a Kaido. You have to aim the backline. But Neon, they're not giving him that opportunity.
Sorry, Palos still looking to try and roam around, get those key pickoffs. It'll enable them to go right back on in. They feel like without that Stone Gaze...
Tino, they're on to Enryu. Able to take the arrow. Tino kind of stuck on the higher ground. They still have the ward on the higher ground, so Palos is trying to find a window to jump. Maybe Avatar Mode's going to be the target, but Jing's the target instead. Palos, oh, he's got plenty of burst. The crit at the last second to get the kill. But Asa needs to enter the higher ground. You can't keep missing at the moment, but it doesn't matter. Palos with the Satanic, the sustain. He can't keep himself alive as Asta with the Rapier. They've got a condition. Tino, a couple of crits, he's killed off as well. The buybacks are there, but Asta's proving that this Rapier...
Roche is up. Roche is up as they walk into it. Oh my god, what are they going to get? Oh, I really would have loved to see the Aghanim Scepter come out for him, just because you've already got the Aghanim Shard from the previous Roshan. To be able to turn around, for example, the Burrow Strike in onto you by the Sand King would have been enormous. Does Shanks go for this? Buyback available. He's freeing up the item slot.
You might want to drop another. Ooh. Shanks is in. He could go back in.
Like, you saw nothing.
Alright, they got everything. Asta's like, yeah, I'll just pop BKB. Why not? It doesn't have... Of course, you have the Aegis, but no BKB now.
Satanic as well for the spell.
Very true. Okay, so Aegis, Refresher Shard, and Cheese. Do you hold the Refresher Shard just for... I think you do, for double BKB, double Satanic. I don't know what else you'd get. Maybe the Shadow Demon you could argue for all of his ultimates.
So much more valuable on the Deucer, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I am in agreement as well. Although he says...
The Cheese over to the Lesh, though. I like that.
He says otherwise.
No, I hate it.
Yeah.
Every single time where, you know, a core takes every single thing from Roshan and then they die and die back with the Cheese still in their backpack, I'm like, I could have used that.
You're asking for a Scythe of Ice. It's actually going to be Bob that picks it up. So the other side you were wanting it for is Enryu. Charging aggressively into the jungle. Tino gets a beautiful double Burrow Strike.
Damage!
And Asta's too late to be able to capitalize on this. To the west they go. Onto Vincenzo with the Death Prophet. Killed off with ease, but eyes on Jing. The Shadow Demon's valuable. A Burrow Strike in and out. Pelos, a couple of crits. Just like that. They don't have the Shadow Demon. No buybacks available. Asta in Avatar mode, do they want to charge up the high ground? I don't know. It's going to be scary.
The base is your safe haven right now, and it is the Shadow Demon that the Refresher Shard is on at the moment, but he's dead. Full 60 seconds, no buyback as well, so not going to have access to that. The plus side is no BKB used, no Stone Gaze used by Asta either.
Finders, keepers.
Alright, Tino's been kind of crazy this game with his Burrow Strikes. And I think another important thing is that he's about to hit level 25. So that's Sandstorm, Slow, and Blind. Mainly the Blind for Asta. Like, you don't have the slots to go MKB. What do? Like, maybe you pop BKB, pop MKB in afterwards? I don't. I actually don't know what Asta does.
It's not even just that, right? You've also got these illusions coming out, both from the Shadow Demon, from the Manta Style, from the Chaos Knight.
Asta's just charging to middle. It's going to run into Palos, tossing him further away from the reinforcements, but you see, they were nothing to do with it, too. So they're like, yeah, we'll chuck you away, and we'll deal with you another day.
We'll make our escape, yeah. Really does feel a lot more even than that 14k net worth lead Execration have at this stage. What's the buyback status look like? Everyone's got it. Medusa just 20 gold away, but does feel like if she goes down those couple of times, that with the Rapier being dropped, it's going to be maybe too much to come back from.
Dire's courier has been
Alright, that was Bob Shard. I think crazy, but at least something.
Are they going to run into Bob here? If they kept going down, they would have. Might catch out Vincenzo instead. He doesn't have... Oh, no, he does have buyback, but...
Well, Tino's going to fly over the
Tino
tree
again on
line.
point.
But it doesn't matter. If wherever Asta is, they have to be so conscious about the Deuce's damage. Halbert's continuing to cut at the moment. Palace is a big kill. They're onto the back line. Jing's gone, but now Palace has the man fight. The Deucer, once again, Halbert, Arrow, they're doing such a good job to be able to avoid the Deucer at all costs. But Asta, once the stuns expire, can you even lock onto anyone? To the north he goes. Gets so much mana back, but it's Asta against the world. The Jing waiting the wings, waiting for the second round. He's got BKB. He's got BKB for the second life. They're going to be perfect with the chain control. They are! To the north, the double stun from Tino again. And he's just going to BKB TP out, but he cancelled. Asa cancelled the TP, so he's going to stand his ground. Rapier against the world. Deucer against the world, but the Rapier's on the deck. He's got a buyback, but it doesn't matter. They call it quits as Execration take out game 1. 50 minutes in, and what a lost fight.
Victory.
Vision wins games, and finding the Shadow Demon will do it as well. It was great play by Palace there to just consistently look to find him. He buys back, finds him immediately again, just because of that cliff ward where they're looking to take that team fight. So, a really good recognition of the strong areas where they want to be fighting around for Execration, and well-deserved victory coming through there. Honestly thought the... after 35 minutes or so, I thought it would be a little bit more in favor of Neon, but kudos to Palos in particular on his Tiny. He just never let up with the damage. And Tino actually ended up with the most damage on the team as well. He played a great game.
Tino played a exceptional game. I mean, we saw, of course, a completely different role, completely different hero, but we were seeing the praises of the Bane in our last game and just saying how vital he was to that team's success. And I think Tino was the big reason why they were able to win that game. Like, we saw there were way too many times Tino was getting multi-man burrows, huge epicenters. He was causing chaos, jump in the back line to give information so Palace could find a window, and they just avoided the Medusa. And that was kind of the issue of, I guess, the lineup from Neon. Something you mentioned is that they do really lack stuns. It's going to be difficult for Deuce to just stand her ground and right-click, because you want people... You want that jaw. You're more than happy with having that jaw, but without stuns, without control, you just see how difficult it is to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and well, turns out all he really needed to do was press his BKB after the Burrow strike in, because you just saw how much more impact he was able to have with that. And it really did feel like Neon were going all in on this Asta Medusa. Even at the end of the game, Chuan had 9 mangoes in his inventory, just wanting to be able to feed them over to Asta. And they actually never got value out of the refresher shard either. Enryu was still holding it at the very end of the game.
Yeah, so there we go. Game 1 done and dusted. All our series so far, at least the first 2 series, game 2 has been crazy. Maybe this series is flipping the story a little bit, but nonetheless, an exciting game 1. We get Rapier territory, and it goes to 50 minutes here. It's Execration taking the lead in our last series of the night. Time to find out if they can start their BTS Pro Season 11 run off with a 2-0 victory, or if Neon can tie the series. We'll find out after the break.